Bullying is a painful reality in schools around the world. It manifests through repeated behaviors of humiliation and aggression, whether verbal, physical, or psychological, coming from a student or a group, directed at a more vulnerable peer. The goal: domination, exclusion, intimidation. This form of violence disturbs the child's inner peace, leading to feelings of shame, fear, and isolation. Their emotional and social development is affected, deeply influencing how they will relate to life, to others, and ultimately to themselves. Bullying manifests through insults, offensive nicknames, exclusion from social groups, hitting, threats, or spreading false rumors. In the digital age, bullying has also taken on a virtual form, cyberbullying, which involves harassment through social media, messages, or compromising images. The causes of this behavior can be multiple: lack of education based on empathy and respect, family issues, the need for validation through domination, exposure to toxic environments, or the absence of positive role models. Additionally, children who go through trauma or feel powerless in other aspects of their lives tend to vent their frustrations on those they perceive as weaker. Viewed through the lens of Christian Orthodox teaching, bullying is a form of suffering, a cross that some children are forced to carry. Just as our Savior Jesus Christ endured mockery, blows, and injustice, so too can children who are victims of bullying see this experience as a trial from which, with patience, faith, and the right support, they can emerge stronger. Orthodoxy teaches us that virtues are born out of hardships. It does not promise us an escape from troubles, but shows us how to go through them with dignity, faith, and a pure heart. Responding to hatred with kindness, to violence with gentleness, is not a sign of weakness, but of moral strength. A child who is supported in managing their suffering in a Christian way, through forgiveness, prayer, and seeking the guidance of a discerning adult, learns essential life lessons: courage, wisdom, and compassion. But how can a child concretely handle such a situation when they are mocked, humiliated, or excluded? First of all, they should not remain alone in their pain. A child who is mocked for their appearance, shyness, or for not fitting into a group must know that they have the right to speak up. They can go to their parents or teachers and say, "School is hard for me. I feel lonely. The others laugh at me." This simple act of opening up is the first step toward healing. At the same time, they can seek the help of their spiritual father or confessor if they have one. In confession, the child learns not only to free himself from burdens, but also to see more clearly who they are truly fighting. Not the aggressive classmate, but the evil that has crept into that child's heart. This is how the process of forgiveness can begin. Lord, help me not to hold hatred. Protect me from becoming bitter because of my pain. Another example, a shy boy, constantly mocked by a classmate, can learn, with the support of an adult, to respond calmly and firmly. "I don't appreciate what you are saying. Please stop." Said gently but decisively, this type of response teaches the child not to run from conflict, but also not to retaliate in the same manner. Afterward, he can choose to channel his energy into fulfilling activities, participating in church-organized events, practicing a sport, or engaging in other creative pursuits. The child can also learn to pray for the one who is hurting him. It is difficult, but also spiritually healing. "Lord, have mercy. Lord, enlighten him and help him stop doing harm. This is a simple prayer, yet one that changes perspective. In this way, the child does not become a passive victim, but a soul growing in love even in the midst of a trial. Then comes forgiveness. A child can learn that forgiving does not mean justifying the wrongdoing, but freeing himself from the burden of hatred. However, forgiveness does not imply silence or resignation. True Christianity is not passivity, but action illuminated by love and justice. It is important that the abuse be stopped with gentleness, but also with firmness. Bullying can be a source of pain, but also a lesson. Just like the trials of adult life, losses, injustices, failures, this experience is a miniature version of the battles each person will face. Through this trial, the child has the opportunity to build character. Suffering, though difficult to bear, can become a school of maturity. With the support of faith and an experienced adult, the child can learn not to be defined by what happens to him, but by how he responds, not to depend on others' approval, to affirm his identity with courage and dignity, and to develop those life skills that will serve him long after school is over. As St. Paul the Apostle said, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me."